Imagine an acrobat walking a tightrope, every step calculated, every movement purposeful. Now imagine that same acrobat paired with a partner, both performing on a bamboo pole. The stakes are higher, the risk is greater, but so too is the opportunity for harmony and balance. This image serves as the backdrop for an important Buddhist teaching: the relationship between self-protection and the protection of others. It is not merely a lesson about mindfulness or morality. It is a timeless call to action that invites us to reflect deeply on how we live, think, and act. The Buddha's teachings often find their power in simplicity. Here, we dive into the metaphor of the acrobat and the profound truths it reveals about self-care, responsibility, and interconnectedness. We will expand this concept into rich, engaging stories, real-life applications, and historical Buddhist contexts to fully appreciate the depth of these teachings. The story of the acrobat. A metaphor for life at its heart, the story of the acrobat and his student is a simple yet profound parable that captures the essence of personal responsibility and its connection to the collective good. This tale, shared by the Buddha, may appear to be a straightforward instruction on teamwork, but it is layered with wisdom about mindfulness, balance, and the interdependence of all beings. To fully appreciate its depth, we must explore the metaphor in greater detail, relating it to various aspects of life, Buddhist philosophy, and real-world scenarios. The acrobatic partnership, a balance of trust and responsibility. The acrobat, a skilled performer, relies on his student to maintain equilibrium as they perform daring stunts atop a bamboo pole. At first glance, his instruction to the student, to watch out for each other, seems to make sense. After all, teamwork often depends on mutual support. However, the student's response challenges this notion, suggesting a deeper understanding of how balance and focus are maintained. The student wisely points out that the best way to protect both of them is for each to take responsibility for their own actions. When the acrobat ensures his own stability and the student does the same, their collective safety is naturally preserved. This realization is not just about acrobatics. It is a metaphor for life, highlighting how personal accountability fosters harmony within relationships, communities, and even the world at large. Layers of meaning. What the story teaches us. The story encapsulates several key lessons that are central to Buddhist teachings. Let's delve into these layers of meaning. Personal responsibility as the foundation of harmony. The student's advice that each person must focus on protecting themselves is a call to personal responsibility. In life, as on the bamboo pole, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own behavior. By doing so, we contribute to a stable and supportive environment for everyone. The interconnectedness of actions. The acrobat's movements affect the student, and vice versa. Similarly, our actions, thoughts, and words ripple outward, influencing others in ways we may not immediately see. The story reminds us that taking care of ourselves is not a selfish act, but a necessary step in creating a harmonious world. Mindfulness in the present moment. An acrobat's performance requires absolute focus. One misstep, one lapse in concentration can have disastrous consequences. This mirrors the practice of mindfulness in daily life, where staying present helps us navigate challenges and make choices that align with our values. The illusion of control. The acrobat's initial suggestion implies a reliance on the student to maintain his safety. However, the student's response underscores the importance of self-reliance. In Buddhist philosophy, this reflects the understanding that external circumstances are often beyond our control, but we can always control our responses. Real-life applications of the acrobat's lesson. The wisdom embedded in this story can be applied to countless situations in modern life. Consider the following examples. Parenting. Parents often feel responsible for every aspect of their children's well-being. While guidance and support are essential, the greatest gift a parent can give is to model mindfulness, self-discipline, and compassion. When parents take care of their own mental and emotional health, they create a stable foundation for their children to thrive. Workplace dynamics. In a team setting, it is tempting to focus on what others are doing wrong or right. However, the most effective teams are those where individuals take ownership of their tasks and behaviors. By doing so, they contribute to the success of the whole group. Relationships. Whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or family connections, the lesson is clear. You cannot fix someone else. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Your growth and stability will naturally inspire and uplift those around you. Historical context. The Buddha's use of everyday metaphors. The Buddha often used simple, relatable stories to convey profound truths. Why? Because these metaphors made complex ideas accessible to people from all walks of life. In this case, the acrobat's story would have resonated with an audience familiar with the precarious balance of physical performances, whether in village festivals or traveling shows. By framing his teachings in everyday scenarios, the Buddha emphasized that spiritual practice is not confined to monasteries or meditation halls. It is woven into the fabric of daily life. The acrobat's lesson is not just for monks or philosophers. It is for anyone seeking to live a mindful and meaningful life. The acrobat as a symbol of the human journey. The acrobat's performance can be seen as a metaphor for the human journey. Life often feels like walking a tightrope, balancing competing demands, navigating uncertainty, and striving to maintain stability. The bamboo pole represents the precariousness of existence, while the acrobat and student symbolize the dual aspects of our nature, the need for self-reliance and the importance of interconnectedness. The tightrope of modern life. In today's fast-paced world, the acrobat's lesson is more relevant than ever. Balancing work, relationships, health, and personal growth can feel overwhelming. Yet, the key lies in mindfulness, focusing on one step at a time, one moment at a time. The pole as a test of resilience. The bamboo pole is not just a physical object, it is a test of the acrobat's skill and focus. Similarly, life presents us with challenges that test our resilience. How we respond to these challenges determines our ability to maintain balance. Expanding the metaphor. Protecting yourself to protect others. The story of the acrobat extends beyond individual mindfulness to encompass a broader ethical framework. By protecting ourselves, through mindfulness, self-discipline, and compassion, we naturally protect others. Consider these broader implications. Environmental responsibility. Taking care of our own habits, reducing waste, conserving resources, has a direct impact on the health of our planet. When we protect our environment, we protect future generations. Social harmony. When we cultivate qualities like patience and kindness, we contribute to a more harmonious society. Our individual actions, no matter how small, create ripples of positive change. The acrobat's lesson in Buddhist philosophy. The story aligns closely with the Buddha's teachings on the Noble Eightfold Path, particularly right mindfulness and right action. It also reflects the principle of non-harming, ahimsa, which emphasizes that protecting oneself from unwholesome thoughts and actions inherently prevents harm to others. The Buddha's closing message in this story, that no one can save us but ourselves, reinforces the idea that spiritual growth is a personal responsibility. However, this does not negate the value of community. Instead, it highlights that a mindful individual is better equipped to contribute to the collective good. The story of the acrobat is more than a charming tale. It is a profound lesson in balance, mindfulness, and interdependence. It challenges us to reflect on our own lives. Are we taking responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions? Are we protecting ourselves in ways that naturally protect others? As we navigate the tightrope of life, let us remember the wisdom of the student. By focusing on our own balance and stability, we create a foundation of harmony that extends far beyond ourselves. In doing so, we honor the Buddha's teachings and contribute to a world that is more mindful, compassionate, and interconnected. Protecting yourself. The pillars of mindfulness. The Buddha's teaching of mindfulness, satai, is not merely a practice but a way of life, a transformative path that allows individuals to protect themselves from unwholesome actions, thoughts, and speech. Mindfulness serves as the foundation of self-protection, enabling us to maintain clarity, control, and compassion in our daily lives. When practiced earnestly, mindfulness extends beyond the individual, fostering a ripple effect that safeguards those around us. In this section, we will delve deeper into the pillars of mindfulness, actions, speech, and thoughts, and explore how they help us protect ourselves and, by extension, others. Through expanded examples, historical contexts, and real-life applications, we'll uncover the profound significance of this practice. Understanding karma. In Buddhist philosophy, karma, kamma, refers to intentional actions that produce results. When we act mindfully, we align our actions with positive intentions, creating favorable outcomes for ourselves and others. For example, offering a helping hand to a struggling neighbor not only alleviates their burden, but also strengthens our connection to the community. Practical applications. Daily tasks, even mundane activities like washing dishes or walking, can be transformed into opportunities for mindfulness. By focusing on the sensations and movements involved, we cultivate presence and reduce stress. Professional conduct. In the workplace, mindful actions might include listening attentively to colleagues or approaching tasks with patience and care. These practices enhance productivity and foster a supportive environment. Real-life example. A farmer working in their fields embodies the essence of mindful actions. Each seed they plant is a deliberate act of care and intention, ensuring the growth of a bountiful harvest. This process mirrors how mindful actions in our lives yield positive results over time. The second pillar, mindful speech, the power of words. The Buddha emphasized the immense power of words, teaching that mindful speech can uplift and heal, while careless words can harm and divide. Protecting oneself through mindful speech involves cultivating honesty, kindness, and purpose in all communication. The fourfold test of right speech. The Buddha's guidelines for right speech offer a framework for evaluating our words. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it beneficial? Is it spoken at the right time? By adhering to these principles, we not only protect ourselves from the repercussions of harmful speech, but also create a positive impact on those around us. Historical context. In ancient India, Oral tradition was the primary means of transmitting knowledge. The Buddha's teachings relied on the spoken word, highlighting its significance. One well-known story involves a disciple who, upon hearing a harsh insult, remained silent. When questioned, he replied, "If a gift is not accepted, it remains with the giver." This response illustrates the protective power of mindful speech. Modern-day applications. In relationships, choosing kind and supportive words can strengthen bonds and resolve conflicts. On social media. In today's digital age, mindful speech extends to online interactions. Avoiding inflammatory comments and sharing positive content contribute to a healthier online environment. Real-life example. Imagine a teacher guiding students through a challenging lesson. Mindful speech, expressing encouragement and patience, helps students feel supported and capable, fostering a productive learning environment. The third pillar. Mindful thoughts, the seeds of reality. Thoughts are the seeds from which actions and words grow. Protecting oneself begins with cultivating a mindful awareness of our inner dialogue, transforming unwholesome thoughts into opportunities for growth and understanding. The nature of thoughts. Thoughts are transient and often influenced by external circumstances. However, when left unchecked, they can spiral into patterns of negativity or self-doubt. Mindfulness helps us recognize and redirect these thoughts, preventing them from taking root. The three poisons. In Buddhist teachings, the three poisons, greed, lobha, hatred, dosa, and delusion, moha, are the primary sources of suffering. Mindful awareness allows us to identify these mental states and replace them with generosity, compassion, and wisdom. Meditative practices. Loving kindness. Meditation. Metta bhavana. This practice involves generating feelings of goodwill toward oneself and others, countering thoughts of anger or resentment. Body scan meditation. By focusing on physical sensations, practitioners develop a deeper connection to the present moment, quieting the mind and fostering clarity. Real-life application. Consider an athlete preparing for a competition. By maintaining mindful awareness of their thoughts, staying positive and focused, they enhance their performance and resilience under pressure. Interconnectedness. How mindfulness protects others. While mindfulness begins as a personal practice, its benefits extend far beyond the individual. When we protect ourselves through mindful actions, speech, and thoughts, we create a ripple effect that influences our relationships, communities, and even the broader world. The ripple effect. A mindful individual is like a calm pond. Their presence inspires tranquility and clarity in those around them. For example, a parent who practices mindfulness serves as a role model for their children, fostering a nurturing and supportive family environment. Compassion in action. Mindfulness naturally leads to compassion. When we are attuned to our own experiences, we develop greater empathy for others. This compassion manifests in acts of kindness, such as volunteering, mentoring, or simply offering a listening ear. Social and environmental impact. Mindful consumption. By making conscious choices about what we consume, whether it's food, media, or resources, we protect not only ourselves, but also the planet. Community engagement. Mindful individuals often take the initiative to address social issues, from advocating for mental health awareness to organizing environmental cleanups. The historical significance of mindfulness. Throughout Buddhist history, mindfulness has been a central theme in the lives of practitioners. From monastic communities to lay followers, the practice of mindfulness has inspired countless acts of courage, generosity, and transformation. The story of Angulimala. Angulimala, a feared bandit, was transformed through his encounter with the Buddha. By practicing mindfulness and renouncing his harmful ways, he became a devoted monk who inspired others with his example. His story illustrates the profound power of mindfulness to protect and heal. The teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. In modern times, Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh has championed mindfulness as a means of creating peace within oneself and the world. His teachings on mindful walking, breathing, and eating have touched millions, demonstrating the universal relevance of this practice. Mindfulness is not a fleeting trend or a superficial remedy. It is a profound practice that transforms how we live, think, and interact. By cultivating mindful actions, speech, and thoughts, we create a foundation of protection that extends to those around us. As we journey through life, let us remember the wisdom of mindfulness. In every action, word, and thought, we have the power to choose awareness, compassion, and integrity. Through these choices, we not only protect ourselves, but also contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate world. The practice of loving kindness, metta. Loving kindness, or metta, is one of the cornerstone practices in Buddhism, radiating warmth, compassion, and goodwill toward oneself and others. Unlike fleeting emotions, metta is a deliberate and sustained intention to cultivate love and kindness in all interactions. It is transformative, allowing individuals to protect themselves from hatred, jealousy, and other unwholesome states of mind, while simultaneously creating a positive ripple effect that reaches far beyond the self. This practice is not limited to monks or spiritual practitioners. It is a universally applicable method for fostering harmony, compassion, and emotional resilience. In this expanded discussion, we will explore the historical significance, practical steps, real-life applications, and the profound impact of metta on individuals and society. The origins of loving kindness in Buddhist teachings. The Buddha introduced metta as one of the four sublime states, or Brahma Viharas, alongside compassion, karuna, sympathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. Together, these states form the foundation for ethical and spiritual living. The historical roots of metta meditation are tied to a time when monks often meditated in forests and encountered danger from wild animals. To overcome fear and create a sense of safety, the Buddha instructed them to cultivate metta toward all beings, fostering an atmosphere of peace and non-harm. The meaning and philosophy of metta. At its core, metta transcends romantic or possessive love. It is an unconditional, universal love that seeks the well-being and happiness of all beings, without expecting anything in return. Practicing metta involves breaking down barriers between self and other, recognizing the interconnectedness of all life. Key aspects of metta include non-judgmental acceptance, embracing people as they are, free from criticism or bias. Inclusivity, extending love not only to friends and family, but also to strangers, enemies, and even oneself. Transformative power, replacing negative emotions like anger and envy with positive intentions of goodwill. Practical steps to cultivate metta. The practice of metta is traditionally structured as a meditation that begins with oneself and gradually extends outward to encompass all beings. Step 1. Start with yourself. Loving kindness begins at home, with yourself. Many people struggle with self-compassion, often holding themselves to impossible standards or engaging in harsh self-criticism. The Buddha emphasized that to truly love others, one must first love oneself. Repeat affirmations such as, May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. Visualize yourself surrounded by a warm golden light, symbolizing love and protection. Step 2. Extend to loved ones next. Focus on someone you deeply care about, a family member, friend, or mentor. Picture them in your mind and silently wish them well. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. Step 3. Include neutral acquaintances. Bring to mind someone you neither like nor dislike, a coworker, neighbor, or even a stranger. Extend the same wishes of goodwill to them, recognizing their shared humanity. Step 4. Expand to difficult people. This step challenges you to send loving kindness to someone who has hurt or angered you. This does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather releasing the burden of anger or resentment for your own peace of mind. Step 5. Encompass all beings. Finally, imagine the entire world enveloped in loving kindness. Wish happiness and freedom from suffering for all beings, regardless of their location, species, or relationship to you. Real-life applications of metta. The practice of metta is not confined to meditation. It has practical implications in everyday life. By consciously cultivating loving kindness, we can transform our interactions, relationships, and even how we perceive ourselves. In relationships. Metta fosters deeper connections by encouraging empathy and understanding. Instead of reacting to conflicts with anger, approach them with compassion. For instance, during a disagreement with a partner, pause to silently wish them happiness and peace before responding. Studies have shown that couples who practice metta meditation together report higher levels of emotional intimacy and satisfaction. In the workplace, extend metta toward colleagues to create a more harmonious and supportive work environment. This might involve showing appreciation for their contributions or addressing conflicts with kindness instead of blame. Leaders who practice metta inspire trust and loyalty, fostering a collaborative and positive organizational culture. In challenging situations, encountering road rage, rude behavior, or negativity, instead of reacting, silently wish the person well. This practice not only diffuses tension, but also helps you maintain inner calm. In self-care. Many people are their own harshest critics. Practicing metta toward yourself can reduce stress, improve self-esteem, and promote emotional resilience. The science behind loving kindness. Modern research supports the transformative power of metta. Neuroscientific studies have shown that loving kindness meditation activates brain regions associated with empathy, emotional regulation, and positive emotions. Regular practice can lower stress levels, reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, and even strengthen the immune system. For example, a study conducted at Stanford University found that just 7 minutes of loving kindness meditation increased participants' feelings of social connection and compassion. Another study revealed that practicing metta enhanced emotional resilience, helping individuals recover more quickly from negative experiences. Historical stories of loving kindness in action. The story of the monk and the robbers. In a well-known Buddhist tale, a monk traveling through a forest was confronted by robbers. Instead of reacting with fear or anger, he practiced metta, silently wishing them happiness and peace. Moved by his calm and compassionate demeanor, the robbers abandoned their violent ways and sought a new path in life. The Buddha and the Angry Man. One day, an angry man insulted the Buddha, attempting to provoke him. The Buddha remained unmoved, responding with kindness. He explained, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man, realizing his anger had no effect, was transformed by the Buddha's loving kindness. The ripple effect of metta. When practiced consistently, metta has a ripple effect that touches not only the practitioner, but also their family, community, and beyond. In families. A parent who practices metta creates a nurturing environment for their children. By modeling kindness and empathy, they instill these values in the next generation. In communities, a community where individuals practice metta fosters inclusivity, cooperation, and mutual support. Acts of kindness become contagious, inspiring others to follow suit. In the world on a global scale, metta can contribute to peace-building efforts, encouraging dialogue and reconciliation in conflict zones. By promoting understanding and goodwill, it has the potential to address deep-seated divisions. The ultimate goal of metta. The practice of metta ultimately leads to liberation from suffering. By cultivating an open and loving heart, we dissolve the boundaries between self and other, experiencing the interconnectedness of all life. This realization brings a profound sense of peace and joy, aligning us with the Buddha's vision of a compassionate world. Concluding thoughts. Embracing metta in everyday life. The practice of loving kindness is more than a meditation. It is a way of being. By consciously cultivating metta, we protect ourselves from harmful emotions, strengthen our relationships, and contribute to a more compassionate world. In every thought, word, and action, we have the opportunity to choose kindness. Let us embrace this practice and let loving kindness radiate from our hearts, transforming not only our own lives, but also the lives of all beings we encounter. In doing so, we embody the Buddha's timeless teaching. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. The interplay of humility and compassion. Expanded. Humility and compassion are often seen as distinct virtues, but in Buddhist teachings, they are deeply interconnected. Together, they form a powerful antidote to the ego-driven tendencies that often lead to conflict, suffering, and division. Practicing humility grounds us in self-awareness and detachment from pride, while compassion fosters a sense of connection and empathy for others. This interplay creates a harmonious balance, allowing us to navigate life with wisdom, kindness, and purpose. Understanding humility, the foundation of wisdom. Humility is not about diminishing oneself or denying one's worth. Instead, it is about recognizing our place in the interconnected web of life. It involves letting go of ego, acknowledging our limitations, and opening ourselves to learning from others. In Buddhism, humility is seen as a gateway to wisdom, as it allows us to transcend self-centeredness and embrace the broader truths of existence. The role of ego in suffering. The Buddha taught that much of human suffering stems from attachment to the ego, the false sense of self that craves recognition, power, and superiority. Humility challenges this attachment, encouraging us to let go of the illusion of separateness and see ourselves as part of a greater whole. Humility in action. Learning from others. A humble person listens actively, values diverse perspectives, and is open to constructive feedback. Admitting mistakes. Humility enables us to acknowledge our errors without defensiveness, fostering growth and reconciliation. Historical example: the Buddha's humility. Despite his enlightenment, the Buddha exemplified humility. He walked among people of all castes and backgrounds, teaching without condescension and often crediting others for their contributions to his understanding. His humility inspired trust and deepened the impact of his teachings. Compassion, The heart of connection. Compassion, karuna, is the heartfelt wish to alleviate the suffering of others. Unlike pity, which maintains a distance between the sufferer and the observer, compassion is rooted in a deep sense of empathy and shared humanity. It bridges the gap between self and other, reminding us that we are all interconnected. The practice of compassion begins with the recognition of suffering, whether it is our own or that of others. It involves not only understanding the pain, but also taking action to alleviate it. Self-compassion. Before we can extend compassion to others, we must learn to be kind to ourselves. This means forgiving our mistakes, accepting our imperfections, and nurturing our well-being. Compassion for others. This can manifest in small acts of kindness, such as listening to a friend in need, or larger efforts, such as volunteering or advocating for social justice. The ripple effect of compassion. Acts of compassion inspire others to act similarly, creating a chain reaction of kindness. For example, a single act of generosity can encourage others to give, multiplying its impact exponentially. A story of compassion. The Buddha and the sick monk. One day, the Buddha found a sick monk who had been neglected by his fellow disciples. Instead of chastising the others, the Buddha personally cared for the monk, bathing him and tending to his needs. He then reminded his disciples that compassion was central to their practice, saying, "He who serves the sick serves me." The interplay of humility and compassion. Humility and compassion complement and strengthen each other, creating a balanced approach to life that fosters both personal growth and meaningful relationships. How humility nurtures compassion. Humility dissolves the barriers of ego, allowing us to see others as equals. When we let go of pride and self-importance, we become more attuned to the needs and experiences of others. For example, a leader who practices humility is more likely to understand and address the concerns of their team, fostering a supportive and collaborative environment. A parent who acknowledges their own struggles with imperfection can better empathize with their child's challenges. How compassion enhances humility. Compassion reminds us that our successes and privileges are not solely our own doing, but are supported by countless others. This realization cultivates gratitude and reduces arrogance. For instance, a successful professional who recognizes the support of mentors, colleagues, and family members is less likely to succumb to pride and more likely to uplift others. A teacher who approaches their students with compassion understands that learning is a shared journey, not a one-sided transfer of knowledge. Breaking the cycle of ego and division. The interplay of humility and compassion disrupts the cycle of ego-driven behavior that often leads to conflict. Instead of competing for dominance, we seek to uplift one another. Instead of judging others, we approach them with understanding. Practical applications of humility and compassion. In leadership, humility. A leader who admits their mistakes and listens to feedback earns the respect and trust of their team. Compassion. By prioritizing the well-being of their employees, a compassionate leader creates a positive and productive work environment. In relationships, humility. Recognizing one's own faults prevents unnecessary arguments and fosters mutual respect. Compassion. Understanding a partner's struggles strengthens the bond and encourages open communication. In social justice, humility. Acknowledging one's own privilege is the first step toward meaningful allyship. Compassion. Advocating for marginalized communities stems from a genuine desire to alleviate suffering. The ultimate goal: liberation through humility and compassion. In Buddhism, the ultimate goal of practicing humility and compassion is liberation from suffering, nirvana. These virtues help us overcome the three poisons, greed, hatred, and delusion, by cultivating detachment from ego and fostering a sense of unity with all beings. Overcoming greed. Humility reduces attachment to material possessions and status. Overcoming hatred. Compassion replaces anger and resentment with understanding and forgiveness. Overcoming delusion. The interplay of humility and compassion reveals the interconnectedness of all life, dissolving the illusion of separateness. Concluding thoughts. A path to harmony. The interplay of humility and compassion is not merely a philosophical concept. It is a practical guide for living a harmonious and meaningful life. By cultivating humility, we ground ourselves in self-awareness and openness. By practicing compassion, we extend our love and care to others. Together, these virtues create a powerful force for personal transformation and collective well-being. Let us strive to embody humility and compassion in our thoughts, words, and actions. In doing so, we protect ourselves from the pitfalls of ego, build deeper connections with others, and contribute to a more compassionate and harmonious world. Protecting the world through self-protection. The Buddha's teachings often highlight the profound interconnection between individual actions and the well-being of the world. When the Buddha said, "No one can save us but ourselves," he was not advocating for isolation or self-centeredness. Instead, he emphasized that the journey of self-protection, cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and ethical behavior, has a ripple effect that extends far beyond the individual. By protecting ourselves, we naturally contribute to the protection and betterment of others and the world at large. The ripple effect of self-protection. When we cultivate mindfulness, loving kindness, and self-discipline, our actions create ripples that influence our surroundings. These ripples can manifest in several ways. Emotional influence. A calm and mindful individual has a stabilizing effect on those around them. For example, a parent who practices mindfulness is more likely to handle stressful situations with patience, creating a nurturing environment for their children. Ethical impact. Choosing ethical actions, such as avoiding harm to others, speaking truthfully, and acting with integrity, sets a positive example for others to follow. This can inspire entire communities to adopt more compassionate and ethical behaviors. Global connection. In an interconnected world, individual choices have global implications. For instance, practicing mindful consumption, buying sustainable products, reducing waste, protects the environment, and supports a healthier planet for future generations. The role of mindfulness in global harmony. Mindfulness begins as an inward practice but naturally extends outward. By protecting ourselves from negative emotions and unwholesome actions, we contribute to a more peaceful and harmonious world. Reducing conflict mindfulness helps us respond to conflicts with clarity and compassion, rather than anger or reactivity. This reduces the likelihood of escalating tensions, whether in personal relationships or international disputes. Fostering empathy. When we are mindful of our own emotions and experiences, we become more attuned to those of others. This empathy fosters understanding and cooperation across cultural and social divides. Creating a culture of peace communities that embrace mindfulness often experience reduced violence, increased social cohesion, and greater overall well-being. Real-life examples of self-protection. Protecting the world, environmental stewardship. A mindful approach to consumption, such as reducing single-use plastics or supporting renewable energy, has a direct impact on the health of the planet. By protecting ourselves from the greed and convenience-driven habits that harm the environment, we contribute to global sustainability. Social justice movements. Leaders of social justice movements often embody the principles of mindfulness and compassion. For example, Mahatma Gandhi's practice of nonviolence, ahimsa, and mindfulness inspired millions to advocate for justice without resorting to hatred or aggression. Healing communities. In post-conflict zones, mindfulness-based interventions have been used to help communities heal from trauma. By teaching individuals to manage their emotions and cultivate compassion, these programs foster reconciliation and long-term peace. The path forward. A collective responsibility. Protecting the world through self-protection is not a solitary endeavor. It is a collective responsibility. When individuals commit to personal growth and ethical living, they contribute to a ripple effect that can transform families, communities, and nations. Teaching future generations. Parents and educators who embody mindfulness and compassion instill these values in children, shaping a more empathetic and responsible generation. Building mindful communities, groups, and organizations that prioritize mindfulness create environments where individuals feel supported and empowered to make positive changes. Advocating for structural change. Self-protection also involves recognizing systemic issues and advocating for changes that promote equity, sustainability, and justice. The journey of self-protection is both personal and universal. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and ethical behavior, we protect ourselves from suffering and contribute to the well-being of others. This unified vision aligns with the Buddha's teaching that individual transformation leads to collective harmony. As we protect ourselves, let us remember that our actions have far-reaching consequences. By living mindfully and compassionately, we create a ripple effect that nurtures a more peaceful, sustainable, and interconnected world.